Hello again, a very warm welcome to you all. My name is Deni Kay, here today with a first release single malt whiskey from Scotland. This is called the Hearach. This is from the Isle of Hearach distillery. Now, I've just opened the bottle and I'm going to go through this with you for the very first time. I'm not very successful with putting this pamphlet back in there, but I will read that a little bit later on. Anyway, we're obviously doing things a little bit differently here today. This is a first release whiskey, so obviously I can't be well acquainted with it just yet. Normally I'll sit down with something that I've usually had before. Today we're going to put myself and also this malt to the test. Just opened it up, just poured it in the glass. We'll try to give it a couple of minutes while I talk a little bit about the actual whiskey and also the packaging, because I quite dig the packaging. Then we'll break down the whiskey. Now, the Isle of Hearach distillery has produced this. They currently already do gin, which is really lovely. This is the first release whiskey, a batch where there was 8 batches in the first release, and they're all slightly vary a tiny bit because there is a makeup of first fill bourbon cask Oloroso and Fino sherry casks that were used to produce this, and the time that they spent marrying together varies from batch to batch. So you'll probably be hard pressed to even find a bottle, because from what I know it's sold out almost everywhere around the world, let alone varying batches. But if you do, good for you, because you're able to see if there is something different from one batch to another, which we do love to do. 46% ABV, no color, non-chill filtered, all of those lovely things. Now, the packaging impresses me. I really do dig traditional bottle shapes, and either no tube or a tubed box will do for me. Normally not really a big fan of all the fancy packaging. This one, as you would have seen a moment ago, it's like a flat lay that comes together. There's a booklet. The booklet was out, but I haven't read it yet. I might read it a little later on when I finish my dram. Pretty cool. This is more like a decanter than a whiskey bottle. Let's face it. I mean, when you finish the whiskey, you've got yourself a decanter you could use for your infinity bottle, if you're that way inclined. I will say, I've never actually had a good whiskey come out of an infinity bottle before, not even my own, but at least you'll have a good bottle. Here we'll find out whether you have a good bottle and good whiskey. Now, it's a non-age statement, but from what I understand, matured for a minimum of 5 years. As I said, I spoke about the different casks in this, and also lightly peated. So roughly about, I think, 12 ppm. So, and I do really like when there is whiskey that has that underlying peat, you know. I'm not gonna say it reminds me of old school Macallan or even Springbank, for example, right? Because it's gonna be a little bit of a stretch. But I do like that because obviously it adds layers to it, and I really dig it. We'll see what this here has to it, but what I will tell you immediately is that the color of the whiskey is rather light. So we did say first fill bourbon and also sherry casks. It's natural color. You might normally expect it to be a little bit darker. It's not. So let's see what it packs in terms of the smell and the taste, but it is a bright hay color. Yeah, okay. There is, it's a big bouquet. It's lovely. There's quite a bit that hits me initially. Okay, some gentle smoke, yes, then orchard fruit. So, apples, pears, almost like a lighter, maybe yellow apple, pears, peach, yes, absolutely. Then you're getting some caramel squares, nice dollop of vanilla, fantastic. And now coming through, a little bit more sweetness, honey, really sweet cereal as well. And then somewhat drying, which is good. There's kind of layers there. There's a little bit going on. Fantastic. Really, really good start. Really lovely nose. Okay. A lot of what I mentioned on the nose comes through taste as well. The gentle smoke is fantastic. I really do dig that. There's no pear, apple, yes, underripe mango, peach, absolutely. Some apricot, fresh apricot, not dried apricot. Still caramel, still vanilla, still honey, fantastic. Now, the finish is rather interesting because you've got the honey that comes through, still a little bit of that sweet cereal too. Then there's almost like a little bit of a sourness, a little bit of a drying sensation, maybe a touch of spice. This is all complementary and really balanced. It works because the sourness, minimal, almost like a sour green apple, a tiny bit, really tiny bit, right? And it almost then has you looking for a little bit of that honey sweetness that comes through, which, as I said, I like. The fact that it has younger whiskey, it is youthful, it is bright, there's still plenty going on, and I think they've been very clever in the way that they've done that, right? Lightly peated, all these different cask types as well to be able to add those layers and add those flavors. Absolutely, really dig that. On the nose now as well, I'm getting a tiny bit of raspberry, tiniest bit, and also a little bit of leather as well. So I do think that you do have to remember, I literally just pour this. I've not given it a lot of time in the glass, but I really did want to just see if I pour myself some. I've not done a video for a while, put myself the malt to the test and really see what we can find here. And there's quite a little bit going on. So, and I'm not saying that it's a good whiskey for a first release. It's just a good whiskey, right? So it's just a good whiskey, regardless of the fact that it's a first release. That's really just a bit of a bonus because it gives you, I guess you could say, the chance to be able to try this early on in the journey. If it only gets better from here, then they're going to be kicking goals. I'll say that. Don't change the bottle. I really like this bottle. It's going to be fantastic. As I said, to do a horrible infinity bottle at the end, at least in a really lovely decanter. The honey, the cereal notes coming through now. Absolutely love it. Delicious. And I think with a little bit of time, those other notes that I said were there to begin with, they're sort of starting to taper off a little bit, but I still get them there because now I'm really searching for them because I really like it. There are layers, there are different things going on here. I dig it. So speaking to a friend of mine abroad, he did say to me that this is starting to become a little bit harder for him to find. First release, 8 different batches. I'm not sure what batch you'll find. This one here is batch 7. It's of it if it is of any interest to you, but it's lovely. I like it. It's worth buying, worth trying. Absolutely it is. I'm going to keep it rather short and sharp. I know that I've not done a video for months now. Hopefully this year will kickstart things back off again. So I really do appreciate you taking the time to get a first glimpse of the first release here, the Hearach. Thank you very much once again for joining me. Cheers to you. Till next time.